Here you go, man. You can have this food if you want. Bless you, sir. Seriously? 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 Seriously?
Just as I thought. I just knew you were acquainted with our Mr. President, Mr. Smith.
Trouble Busters!
My name is Thomas, and I'm a good-natured young man who's training in Switzerland as a warrior with a dream of getting a job in a foreign capital company. And now for a little one-man show. A toxic staff at a luxurious restaurant becomes disrespectful to a couple on their wedding anniversary. Enough with your stupid lies! The reservation was for yesterday! Pay the cancellation fee or face being reported to the police! Look, the reservation was made for yesterday and the same reservation was cancelled without notice! You must pay the cancellation price, if not the police will keep you company tonight, bucko! Oh, this pisses me off so much.
Thomas, you definitely did that normally in your private life, didn't you?
Hell no, guys. This is just an easy impression, one of my many talents in acting. Yeah, but the quality is so high that it just doesn't make sense unless you did it regularly. In order to experience real French, I try to do comedic acts in that language. Of course, I don't accept any objections that there are other ways to do it. I worked hard for half a day and my lunch here doesn't look very good. Maybe doing this would make me forget about home altogether. As I thought so, I looked toward a bench in a nearby park. There's someone who looks even hungrier than me. I'm hungrier than you? What the? Damn, not only did he read exactly what was on my mind, but he has so much guts as to be direct in his words and actions. Maybe you could beg a richer man for food next time, huh? Someone hungry asking another hungry individual for food, that's nothing short of cannibalism. But the old man couldn't even do that either. No wonder he must have been that hungry. Shit, man, such deadweight sometimes, these homeless. I'll have the larger rice rolls, all right? No complaining, eh? Ah, shit, fine then. Take the larger rolls. Bless you, sir. You have a kindness. Just call me a kind guy, man. I talked with Jean-Baptiste for a long time. It seems like he went homeless after being separated from his wife and daughter. He gave up his old home and life and became a resident here. 6 months later, I had to return to Japan. During that time, I became very close friends with Jean-Baptiste, and despite all the difficulties, living in Switzerland for some time became a treasured memory for me. No, you're the worst recruit I've seen in the last 10 years. You're not hired. No, what? You haven't even looked at my resume yet, have you? I'm a recruitment professional, bucko, so I can see something amiss at a glance without even looking at the resume.
Mr. Enomoto, deeming someone the worst and rejecting them without even looking at the resume is a little...
Oh, really? You're pretty kind, Patricia. What the? This guy is so cheeky writing in French like this? Oof, goddamn, the content is worse than I imagined. During my stay in Switzerland, I formed a comedy duo with a cheerful old man named Jean-Baptiste who was living in a park, and as we made a living by performing on the street, I trained myself in the art of love, sadness, and true meaning of strength. Comedy is something people who aren't good at studying do, dude. That's just prejudice. The resume is plainly ridiculous. I would be better off looking at ghost photos than looking at something like this. What now, Patricia dear? Are you looking for this prick's good points,
No, something is
There's nothing. There's nothing good about this guy. You seriously don't know your place in society, eh? You went to the Florida Memorial University and your professional background is questionable. There's no way someone like this is suitable for our company, Tiger Cat International Incorporated. Both your academic background and career are at the bottom of the barrel. The most ridiculous is the story about your time in Switzerland. The hell do you mean, a comedy duo with an old man in the park? Living with a homeless gas bag like that and sympathizing with how he feels is too much evidence on how low your level is. We don't need to talk about you because your existence is so boring. Go on back to Switzerland where your best friend is, eh? You goddamn rat! You better take all of that back! You don't know anything! Don't go about dissing my mentor as though it were a frickin' walk in the park! Chug boiling water, why don't you, Mr. Know-It-All? I just knew that someone with such a mediocre intellect would quickly let blood rush to his head and act so stupid and manipulative. You are rejected! Good! I don't need you, frickin' prick, as my boss. I don't need you to be destroying my precious memory so mercilessly. I'm glad I ain't working here for you. No such company shall ever escape my vengeance. And what can I say about a monster like you who's just a blob of pretentiousness and prejudice, who only decides things based on appearance? How in the world you're the human resources manager of Tiger Cat International Incorporated, the world's leading company, I'll never understand. Shame on you. Do not show your face here again, you barbarian. All right, and that's the 30th company in a row to turn me away. But I don't care. Working for someone like that has to be worse than being unemployed. And yet I'm on the edge of a cliff. I can't even treat Jean-Baptiste to a sushi roll anymore.
Excuse me?
Yes? Well, what's the matter, miss?
Unmotivated, clouded eyes, like those of a fish.
Hey-o, whose eyes are clouded, huh?
Silver hair, a nuclear power plant for a mouth. Could you truly be?
Huh? Mere seconds later, I learned something truly incredible from this girl. And then that became the catalyst to turn the tables against that good-for-nothing, condescending sack of lard, Enomoto. Unforgivable. Trouble busters, initiate! All of these freaking recruits are just actual insects with the education of a mosquito and the career of a cicada.
That's vulgar, Mr. Enomoto.
Oh, you need not say that, Patricia. The best part of being an interviewer is harnessing the overwhelming power that comes with the Human Resources Department and letting the sword be decisive, right?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, well, I think we've earned ourselves a break for now. Yes, Lloyd Enomoto speaking. Yes. What? The president, ma'am. I'll head over right away. Seriously? 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 Seriously?
Just as I thought. I just knew you were acquainted with our Mr. President, Mr. Smith.
Hell yeah, we are. But why are you the president of a foreign capital company in Japan, Jean-Baptiste? I thought the sushi you brought me was so good, and I vowed I would go to Japan one day, and I started saving up. And when I came here, I miraculously found my wife and daughter here.
My mother's mother, my grandmother, founded this company, you see.
Yep, and I'm the president of this company. Excuse me, Mr. President.
Excuse me, sir.
Hey, Enomoto, you little... I heard the details just earlier, sir. I did not think that you and the Silver Mothman here... Eh? My mistake. I never dreamed you were deeply affiliated with Mr. Smith and were very close friends once upon a time. That's also a problem. But that's not the problem. What? I suppose you're always like today when it comes to interviews, huh? Perish the thought, sir. You see, today was kind of that kind of day for me. Today was one of those days? If you don't play nice with me, I'll play a prank on you? You mean to tell me you used a familiar Halloween tactic in this great company's human resources recruitment? Yes, sir. I was like an interviewer during Halloween today. You won't be hired if you don't give me a cookie? Are you taking the interview seriously, buddy?
You don't seem to understand how important human resource recruiting is for an organization. The thing that costs the most is the employee. However, it is also the employee who makes the most money for the company.
I understand that, ma'am. It is with precisely that knowledge that I used my rights as the human resources manager to reject Mr. Smith. Without even mentioning anything about his career? I touched upon it, sir. What is the verdict, Patricia?
It's a blatant lie, sir.
Patricia, you!
Go ahead, intimidate me, as always. I've kept quiet until now because you're my boss who doesn't mind being a dick. But it's different if the interviewee was a benefactor of President Messier.
But the interviewer is supposed to be condescending. People like you shouldn't be in charge of judging who would be hired and who wouldn't. It would be different if you rejected recruits because of skill or personality, but you rejected me because of your sneaky prejudices. That's not true!
No, it is. After all, you never even hinted at talking about his work history, where he was moving around from place to place as a part-timer, a full-time employee, and even a dispatch worker at a temporary agency, all of which were for foreign capital companies, did you?
Are there people who freaking pay attention to mediocre things like part-time jobs and dispatch workers?
That's something to keep a keen eye on. I looked at Thomas's resume, and even if you don't include his past favors to my father, he is quite a wonderful gem.
ABC Finances is very strict even in recruiting part-time workers, and B&Z Incorporated is also. Don't you have any idea in your head what recruitment methods these companies in the same job category use, as well as the hiring rates?
You have no such knowledge, which is why you just reject them without looking carefully. As you say, this boss of mine knows absolutely nothing.
And you used to be excellent.
He's become so great and easy luxury got to his head, so much so that you've learned nothing of other companies and hardly did any research on most recent foreign-affiliated tidings. It's like using Wikipedia as your primary source of information on a PhD dissertation.
A typical slack-off that only assumes information based on the best out there?
It's insane if a person who judges other people does not update their information according to the times. Mr. President, I believe Enomoto should be given severe punishment.
Yes, I agree. From what I've heard, I don't think Enomoto's misdeeds are new by any means.
He won't take anyone other than from famous schools and whatnot.
He won't take anyone other than from famous schools?
Isn't it possible for someone else to do the same job?
Enomoto, here are your orders. Organize your office. By which I mean pack up and wait until further notice of additional transfer orders. What? Does that mean? You are now a body going down, down, down the river, buddy. You are being demoted.
This time, your demotion has nothing to do with your harsh abuse towards my father's friendship with his benefactor, Thomas. You've done far more. Mercilessly abusing the friendships of Mr. Smith, which has nothing to do with whether he'll be hired or not, is too far over the line to overlook, after all, I think.
Sympathizing with an old homeless man is too much evidence on how low your level is.
Well, now that I think about it, your words probably pierced through Mr. Smith's dignity faster than a red-hot samurai sword through a stick of butter.
No, truly, I didn't say anything like that. No, you were. Please, Mr. President, this, if anything, is true. I'm sorry, but I believe Thomas. He used to be a total stranger who shared sushi with me when he saw me for the first time, and he is my best friend and even saved my life. I definitely don't want my demotion to be finalized under nothing but memories from an abysmal past without any hardcore evidence supporting what you believe I'm doing wrong, sir. If such a situation were to arise, I have my own ideas. I will go to court. What? To court? I have a family, too. A court case will be so tedious. Hey, Loreline, can't we do something about that?
No, it's true. There's no objective evidence, and it will become a nuisance if it continues for a long time.
Listen, Enomoto. But what happens after demotion is quite a massive pay cut, right? Probably compared to your salary now.
Wouldn't all be well to get back what you lost?
I'm already 55, ma'am. By the time I can, I will have already retired. It can't be helped since you caused this situation, right? It can be helped, bucko, because I did not invite such a situation into the company.
Mr. Enomoto, you are being so pathetic, irresponsible, straight up cowardly.
Shut up! You must be so happy, eh? If I'm overthrown, you can just take my place and run up the career ladder easy peasy. Oh, I see, Mr. President. This is a trap. Huh? A trap? Thomas and Patricia are trying to frame me to be the lying and incompetent interviewer that I allegedly am, so that I can be eliminated. And Thomas doing such a thing? Well...
And Patricia would never do that.
That is just your imagination, isn't it? You can't judge people based on your imagination. So you admit to being wrong about using abusive language against me when I first came. That's only what I did allegedly, and I only stand here to make sense of the misunderstanding. No, none of us see it that way. Impressionism, abstractionism, and the ridiculous theory that words tell everything there is to know is dissatisfying and meaningless. Shit. This guy, helplessly cornered, is using his last resort. This is getting out of hand, Loreline.
I agree. Making mountains out of molehills over something completely understandable.
I'm not making mountains out of molehills. I'm just naturally... This is the natural way of things. Has anyone any evidence, like an audio recording or video footage? No, sir. This is because company rules dictate employees cannot bring in anything with recording capabilities, including cell phones, without authorization. Didn't ask you. But I could still give you an answer, right?
Well then, there's no other choice.
Did you finally understand?
Yes.
Is that so? Is that so? Hey, is it okay to take such a lenient response?
It can't be helped. Of course, as Mr. Enomoto says, there is no evidence.
Hurrah! Hurrah for innocent until proven guilty! There is no evidence! I'm innocent! No punishment for me, no problems for me! Suit! Goal! 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 Now, if you'll excuse me, I shall do my absolute best as head manager of the Human Resources Department. Thank you so much. I would like to apologize for giving you such a confusing interview, though. I'm sorry. Let's go, Patricia.
Oh.
This is so infuriating. I want to punish that prick as hard as I can, disregarding the law even. What the hell did you hire that prick for, bro? I told you, he was excellent in the past.
Both of you, shut up.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to research something, so please give me half a day. I hope my hunch is correct.
It ended up being a draw, which was pretty much a loss on our part, and it was a completely incomplete conclusion.
I looked into the abilities and turnover rate of the people you hired in the 3 years since you became the chief executive of the Human Resources Department, and I found that you had hired a total of 22 people, and 2 of them are still working there. Of these 20 people who've quit, 4 were fired due to being late and absent without permission, 12 quit due to interpersonal problems, and 2 caused almost cataclysmic levels of damage to our business partners. It was truly horrifying to discover this.
What's more, the 2 people that remain tend to slack off and lack the motivation to do any work at all.
This objectively shows that your eyes and sense of judgment are not being used properly, and considering how crucial it is to prevent further damage to Tiger Cat International, and also from the perspective of your contribution...
No! There are 0 surviving employees hired in 2019 and 2020. You've cast a kind of curse upon this place, Lloyd. I don't mind transferring departments. We originally wanted to do that, but it's no longer possible. Why? I've reflected. I'll do my best and put so much more effort into my job.
So you acknowledge abusing Mr. Smith during his interview yesterday.
That's a different story. So you definitely didn't do that? Absolutely not.
I also looked into that matter as well.
What?
There were many comments you made that insulted Mr. Smith. You also insulted President Messier when he didn't have a home in Japan yet. Multiple employees have been witnesses, Mr. Enomoto.
But that can't be solid evidence, right? There's no audio, right?
There isn't.
Well then.
That would have only applied if you'd admitted your mistakes yesterday, accepted responsibilities, and accepted the demotion gracefully. They would have at least allowed you the chance of keeping you on board in hopes that things will get better.
I'm not unreasonable, Lloyd, and any good human being that doesn't have much skill can be helped with education, but...
When people have the worst personalities and cannot do their jobs either, there is no room for remedial measures.
Education costs time and money. We're not an advanced organization that spends time and money on people with no future potential. As a results-oriented foreign capital company, this had to be done after a thorough evaluation.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Or something you'd like to refute?
Did you hear her? Have you anything to say? What Mr. Smith and Patricia have said is all true. I conducted an interview that I, as an interviewer, should not have conducted. It's already too late. Give up now. If this was going to be the case, I should have read the stories of the interviewees and made my decision based on their experiences instead of just judging their covers. I'm not humbled by Enomoto, nor am I afraid. While everyone is afraid of the power of the Human Resources Department and that personnel management blade you wield, why can't you, a rather ripe man who had the reputation of being smart, not understand that? After that, Enomoto received the divine punishment of divorce and dismissal. And now it's said he's managing his budget with his 55-year-old body by working a part-time job. And as for the company's verdict for me, you're hired. What? Oh man, did you look at my resume? My lifesaver shall be hired. That's my rule. This is fine. I demonstrated the appropriate skills I'd accumulated during my days in Switzerland. It means that Jean-Baptiste believes in me that much, and even I feel a pleasure and an obligation to live up to his expectations. I'll do my best to slack off sometimes and get good results. Trouble Busters!